Please open up your workbook to page 23 and open up your notebook to the next blank page. Remember to start by writing the date on the top of the page. And this is lesson 1-3B. We're going to be multiplying mixed numbers. So remember, a mixed number is when we have a whole number and a fraction. So for example, if we have 2 2/3, that means that I have 2 wholes and then 2/3 more. So I would have 1 whole, 2 wholes, and then 1/3, 2/3. So 2/3 is more than 2 and less than 3. So we're going to be multiplying mixed numbers here. So if we look at example 3, it says find 7.5 times 2 3/4. We are not going to be doing this area model. Let's just set this multiplication problem up. So if we have 7.5 times 2 3/4. In order to multiply mixed numbers, we need to find improper fractions. So improper fractions is what you have to remember when you see mixed numbers, a whole number with a fraction. So now we're going to change these mixed numbers to improper fractions. You may remember seeing your teachers last year do a little something like this. We start with the 2 and we're going to multiply. 2 times 7 is 14, then add that 1 up top. So 2 times 7 is 14, plus 1 is 15, so I'm going to rewrite my fraction. 15 over, the denominator stays the same, 2. So we have 15 over 2 times, okay, we have to do the same thing. Let's change this mixed number into an improper fraction. An improper fraction means that the top number is going to be bigger than the bottom number. So 4 times 2 is 8. Then add that 3. 8 plus 3 is 11 over 4. So now I have 15 over 2 times 11 over 4. So now this is the perfect example of where it's helpful to look to see, can I simplify before I multiply here? No, I can't. I look on the diagonal. 15 and 4, they can't be divided by the same thing. 2 and 11 also can't be divided by the same thing. So now I have to multiply my numerators. 15 times 11. Okay, so I'm doing some multi-digit multiplication here. 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 1 is 1. Start with a 0. 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 1 is 1. Add it up. I get 165 over 2 times 4 is 8. So now my answer here is 165 over 8. Well, this is an improper fraction. My top is bigger than my bottom. So now I'm going to have to see how many times does 8 go into 165. It's like I'm saying, what's 165 divided by 8? Well, I'm going to do that division here. 165 divided by 8. Okay, so how many times does 8 go into 1? 0. How many times does 8 go into 16? Twice. 2 times 8 is 16. I subtract, I get 0, bring down the 5. How many times does 8 go into 5? 0. So that's it. My 5 is going to be my remainder here. So I'm going to rewrite that as a fraction. My 5, my remainder, becomes my numerator. What I was dividing by, my divisor, becomes my denominator. So my final answer is 20 5/8. All of this work should be in your notebook. So we have to change. Let's think about our steps here. First, we changed our mixed number to an improper fraction. We look to see, can we simplify before multiply? We multiply straight across, and then we have to change our improper fraction back into a mixed number by doing division. Okay, next let's look at number 17. We're just going to solve the problem. We're not going to fill in the blanks like they have there. So number 17, we have 2 3/4 times 8. Okay, so 8 is a whole number here. We can write a whole number over what number so that the 8 stays the same. We want the value of 8 to stay the same. We're going to write 8 over 1. 8 over 1 means that 8 is going to have the same value. So I have a mixed number here. I have a whole number that I changed into a fraction. In order to multiply fractions, I have to have both the numbers as fractions. So 2 3/4. Okay, let's change 2 3/4 into an improper fraction. So what is 2 3/4 as an improper fraction? First, I'm going to multiply. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 3 is 11. So I have 11/4 times 8 over 1. Okay, 8 over 1 is already a fraction. So I'm going to multiply these fractions. Ooh, can I simplify before multiply here? Yes, I can. My 4 and my 8. 4 divided by 4. 8 divided by 4. They can both be divided by 4. So 4 divided by 4 is 1. 8 divided by 4 is 2. Now we can multiply straight across. 11 times 2 is 22. And 1 times 1 is 1. So the final answer here, 22 over 1, is the same thing as 22. Okay, next let's look at number 18. Number 18 is 4 1/2 times 1 1/4. So we have two mixed numbers here. We have to change these mixed numbers into improper fractions. So what is 4 1/2 as an improper fraction? 4 1/2 as an improper fraction is 9/2 times. What is 1 1/4 as an improper fraction? 1 1/4 as an improper fraction is 4 times 1 is 4 plus 1 is 5/4. Okay, so next step, we want to see, can we simplify before multiplying here? We want to look on the diagonals, or top and bottom, top and bottom. So 9 and 4 can't be simplified. 5 and 2 can't be simplified. So all I can do here is multiply straight across. 9 times 5 is 45. 45 over 2 times 4 is 8. So 45 over 8, the top is bigger than the bottom. We're going to have to convert this into a mixed number. How many times does 8 go into 45, or what is 45 divided by 8? So let's do it. 45 divided by 8. Okay, so how many times does 8 go into 45? We have 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48. I want to get close to 45 with not going over. So the closest I can get is 8 times 5, which is 40. And how many are left over? 5. So I take my remainder of 5. That becomes my numerator. What I was dividing by, my divisor, is my denominator. So how many times does 8 go into 45? 8 goes into 45 5 times, with 5/8 left over. And let's just try one more problem, and then we will do extra practice tomorrow. So let's do number 5. Number 5 says 5 times 2 1/2. Okay, so first step's change that 5 to a whole number. Change that 5 to a fraction. It is a whole number. So 5 over 1 times, I want you to change that mixed number into a fraction and then multiply straight across. What's your final answer? So 2 1/2 is 5 halves. I multiply straight across. I get 25 over 2. How many times does 2 go into 25? 2 goes into 25 12 times with 1 over 2 left over.